All right. So, I mean, let's be very honest. It's been a very interesting week for Canadians, especially on the men's side. We made a final. That was a thing. And now we got the Gold Cup coming up. And I think between the final, in terms of the performance, which we all can agree we were lacking a little bit, seeing the Gold Cup roster, there was a bit of a knee jerk reaction. I know I did. Looking at the roster, you see a couple names, and then your mind just goes into a white rage. Ironically enough, I was messaging the girlfriend, and it was just like pain, just lots of pain and just anguish, and hands and head in hands. But after thinking about it, taking a few breaths, I don't hate it as much. Again, we're no Jamaica who's just deciding they're bringing everyone, but let's go over this roster and let's talk about what we like and what we think we can glean from it. So, in goal, we have Milan Borjan, Tom McGill, Dane St. Clair. Those are your goalkeepers. Same goalkeepers from Nations League, which is the interesting thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. Sam Adekubi, Moise Bombito, Zachary Broguillard, Scott Kennedy, Richie Larea, Zachary McGraw, Kamal Miller, Stephen Vittoria, and Dominic Sator. We'll go through everyone here. Let's not single people out. Ali Ahmed, Stefan Eustachio, Victor Lattori, Jonathan Osorio, and David Witherspoon in the midfield. And then your attackers are Charles Andre Sprem, Lucas Cavallini, Junior Hoylett, Liam Miller, J.R.R., Jason Russell Rowe, and Jacob Schaffelberg. So Jacob Schaffelberg is there. And so the goalkeepers kind of stay the same. No real difference there. We go to the defenders, and I was actually doing this math. We have six center backs, which really does suggest a three at the back system, which is no surprise. Moises Bombito did join the team at Nations League, so because of that, it was a good for us to see he's a little bit more familiar. Zachary Pro Gilliard coming back is interesting, and I know for a lot of people who are looking for more people, especially from Montreal, to get on this team, only having ZBG there is a little bit of a surprise. But I think it makes sense. It makes sense from this standpoint, especially because MLS isn't stopping. The season's going on. You have to kind of choose what you're going to prioritize. And especially when it comes to someone like Jonathan Sirois and Mathieu Choignard, they're playing regular minutes there. In the case of someone like Jonathan Sirois, he'd be goalie number 2 or 3. This tournament, they were probably going to give the tournament to Dane St. Clair if Borjan wasn't going to come. So if that's the case, is it really valuable for Sirois to sit on the bench and not play? Meanwhile, you have a James Pantemis who's right behind him who's looking to get involved and try to get his spot back. So you may be putting his job in jeopardy. But I'm a little bit surprised with Chouanier. But then looking at the outlet and the profile of players here, maybe it does make more sense to have him play regular minutes in the MLS than to come in. So you have that, and then the attackers. You have the MLS players. You have a few players, maybe your next attackers on the men's national team, and then a few veterans. You have veterans at each level, but you do have young players coming through. I know a lot of us were hoping to see some dual nationals. I didn't think we were going to see any. Like Luca Colaiosho, Daniel Jebison. I didn't think you were going to see them here just because, and especially Jebison, it's a tournament. I would think you'd have a better shot of seeing them at, say, the friendlies, right? Not cap tying, have a little bit more time. But a tournament like this, now you're cap tied, and you want to give your players a little bit of room. So I didn't expect to see Daniel Jebison here, or Luca Colaiosho, or Mo Farsi, to be honest. So not having him on the list wasn't a surprise. But you have that. But new names everywhere, right? In the defenders, Moise Bombito is there. Welcome there. And then Dominic Zator and Zachary McGraw coming in. McGraw is in, and that's an interesting call. But now you have six center backs, right? You have Kennedy, Victoria, Miller, and then you have Zator, McGraw, and Bombito. I would assume you're probably going to play like a Victoria and Miller, and then you're gonna rotate through, right? See a Bombito play, see a McGraw play, see a Zator play, and kind of rotate there. Or if you want to try to see what type of a player can work very well with the Vittoria. So working on that type of rotation can work, right? And you look into the midfield, Ali Ahmed coming back from that injury, just a concussion. I do hope he's going to be fit to play when it comes to that time, because that'll be great. But I think in the midfield, this is for me. We have to see Victor Lattori. We have to see what he's capable of, and we have to see if he can run that midfield with like a Stefan Eustáquio. What this does give you the opportunity to do is you can play a Lattori as you're more holding, and then you can allow Eustáquio to enter and play more into the attack, which is a little bit more interesting, which we'd like to see. I think ultimately, either seeing Eustáquio or Kone move further up the pitch is going to do wonders, I think, for the attack and the variety of attack there. And then when you're looking at the attackers, you have your veterans, Hoylett and Cavallini. And then you have players that you really would like to see more of, right? A Liam Miller, a Charles Andreas Brim, Jason Russell Rowe, Jacob Schaffelberg. Russell Rowe and Schaffelberg, I mean, coming from that TFC academy and then leaving TFC and then all of a sudden becoming great players. So, I mean, everything stays consistent there. But I think seeing how they're able to go through it will be very interesting. We've seen the emergence of a different player at every of the last two Gold Cups. In 2019, it was Jonathan David. In 2021, it was Tejan Buchanan. I wonder who the player is this year. Could it be a Jason Russell Rowe as a 9? Could it be a Jacob Schaffelberg maybe trying to play it on that wing back? This does have the feel of either a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2 or a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2, to be perfectly honest. I can't count. I keep on saying two things. But I think ultimately that's where it gets interesting. I think, again, for a lot of the fans, we were hoping to see other names, a Theo Corbiano. Interesting not to see an Ike Ugbo as well. But I think those players trying to secure their moves may be the move that they're looking for. But overall, again, initial reaction, a little bit upset. Why is Milan Borjan there? For example, I think that's a player you don't need anything to prove from. You don't need to see anything else from them. So I feel like when it comes to that, maybe they give the goal to Dane St. Clair, let him get a few games. Maybe you cap tie Tom McGill and let him get some games as well. But I think it'll be interesting. You have a lot of the veterans are in that defense, which is probably the way you want to go with this. Make sure your back line is solid and give those attacking and creative players the opportunity to go forward and create. And I think if they do that, maybe we give some of these new players the opportunity to see. But guys, we'll wrap it up there. What do you guys think of this roster? Who is your pick as a player to maybe step up and have a breakout tournament for Canada? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to go with a Liam Miller or a Jason Russell Rowe. I think those two players on the attack can really do much to kind of move forward. But I'm going to stop rambling now, guys, and you let me know in the comments what you think.